Thousands of motorists have been slapped with speeding tickets after the Met Police has reduced its speed tolerance threshold by 1 mile per hour. Doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, when the tickets come flooding in, it will seem like it. This change was not made public, classic, and has led to almost 350,000 extra drivers being caught out by the new rule. So the Met has said that drivers should not be factoring in thresholds when behind the wheel, and it remains illegal to exceed speed limits at all times. But that's absolute tosh, okay, because basically you do, because you know that there are little bits of excess speed limits, don't you? And so when that gets removed without telling you, all of a sudden it starts to look like a shameless attempt to grab your money. Joining me now is Nick Freeman. Now, you may know this particular chap. He's a criminal lawyer. He's a keen interest in road safety. And put it this way, if you are ever in court, you'll probably want this guy defending you. Nick, are they just shamelessly trying to rip us off a bit here? I mean, I thought going 73 and a 70 or whatever, it's not the end of the world, is it? And now they're fining me.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be done for doing, if you were doing 73 and a 70, you wouldn't be prosecuted. There's a tolerance zone which is designed to accommodate the fluctuations in the detection equipment, which varies between about 2 miles an hour up to 66 miles an hour. And over 66 miles an hour, it's actually 3%. So the police have given us a tolerance zone of 10% plus 1. So they won't prosecute you if you are travelling within that tolerance zone. It used to be 10% plus 2, but it was reduced several years ago. And that's why I'm quite surprised to hear your report that the Met have just reduced it, because the tolerance zone was reduced several years ago, but it's possibly the case that different police forces are exercising their discretion in a different way. So if you were doing 70 miles an hour, 10% plus 1 is 78 miles an hour, you'd be prosecuted at 79. If you're doing 30 miles an hour, you've got 33 miles an hour plus 1, 34, you'd be prosecuted at 35. So, look, you shouldn't break the speed limit. That is what the law demands. But provided you're in a tolerance zone, you're on safe ground, you will not be prosecuted. So that's the situation.
So you mean
and
to
it's
tell
been
me
like
two
that for
things?
quite a while.
Yeah, you mean to tell me two things, Nick, that I could have got away with driving at 79 miles an hour my entire life so far, but now I'm just going to ask what I think everyone might be thinking. Just confirm, what is the absolute quickest that I can legally drive on the roads with this tolerance zone now? Because I've got to drive back from Liverpool to Manchester.
78 miles an hour.
Sweet.
On the motorway,
okay.
78 miles an hour.
Why have they brought?
But
why have they brought this in now?
Well, as I say, the tolerance zone has actually been in the ACPO guidelines, the Association of Chief Police Officers guidelines, for several years. And they did reduce it from 10% plus 2. And the difficulty is, I think most motorists are unaware of it. There's uncertainty. And there should be, they say there should be transparency. I suspect the vast majority of motorists do not know actually how fast they can go. They know what the speed limits are, but they don't know the level at which they're going to be prosecuted. And then, of course, when they exceed the speed limit, if they're convicted, they might have a course up to certain levels, fixed penalty, and then over a certain speed, it's a prosecution. So what really ought to happen is somebody needs to come out and say, look, this is what you're allowed to do. This is what we're prepared to tolerate. And then we all know where we are. In my view, the speed limits need to be increased in any event. They're too slow. On the motorway, 70 miles an hour is archaically slow in good driving conditions. It's ridiculous, and we need to follow what our European colleagues do in certain conditions.